Hi, friends. Today I'm going to talk to you about a particular question that is often raised is that what should be the ideal mesopic pupil size whereby the patient can get good distance vision in mesopic conditions, and also what would be the ideal mesopic pupil size that the patient would also get can read comfortably in low light situations also, right? And this is something that I've written about, in the optics section over here, a relation between the mesopic pupil size and the diffractive zone of the multifocal IOL. And here I want to start I have started with a brief description of, when you are measuring the pupil, so with the, say, for example, you have a optical biometer machine and you're measuring the pupil size, you are actually measuring on the cornea, right? The measurement is done with the effect of the corneal magnification. And as you know, the cornea behaves like a high powered magnification glass, a convex lens. So you're actually not getting the real measurement of the pupil size, but you are getting what we call as the entrance pupil size. And what is an entrance pupil? The entrance pupil is basically the image of the real pupil, but on the object side, right? If you look into this anterior, which is actually the anterior of the iris. So this is what you're measuring. This red line is what you are actually getting the value of in the optical biometric machine. And this value is larger. The entrance pupil value is actually larger than the physical pupil. That is what I have actually explained in this article. On an average, actually, there's around 14% of magnification that, of course, depends upon the anterior chamber depth and the corneal power. But on an average, actually, there's a 14% magnification of the real size of the pupil, right? So when you are getting, the entrance pupil, you're measuring the entrance pupil, that's actually 14% larger than the real size of the pupil. Now, like the entrance pupil, there is also a concept called exit pupil. And what is exit pupil? Exit pupil is just the opposite of the entrance pupil. It is the image of the real pupil, but on the image side, not on the object side, but on the image side. And any ray of light that actually passes through the real pupil, right, is actually also passing through the exit pupil, right? And it is actually used by the IOL to create the image on the retina, right? So knowing the exit pupil is also important because you want to know, ultimately what is that beam of light that actually ultimately passes through the physical pupil, real pupil, and is actually creating the image on the retina. So in this, actually, I have given a table over here, and I have also explained how we come to this table. And there's actually a relationship between the entrance pupil and the real pupil and the exit pupil, right? And if you go through this article, we'll know more about this. So this is a table that actually gives you some understanding on that. If you have measured entrance pupil as 3 millimeters, then the real pupil would be somewhere around 2.65 millimeters, and the exit pupil will be 2.76 millimeters. Well, the exit pupil is always bigger than the real pupil. And considering that the actual size of the diffractive zone of that multifocal eye is 3.5 millimeters, then and as I said before, the exit pupil is more important. So if you have an exit pupil size of 2.76 millimeters, then there's no exposure, right, of the outer refractive zone that is beyond the diffractive zone, right? So, for example, if the diffractive zone is 3.5 millimeters, then the outer refractive zone is 2.5 millimeters, right? And that will be not be exposed, the outer refractive zone. If the exit pupil is 3.68 millimeters, then it is marginally exposed. The outer refractive zone will be marginally exposed. And if the um, exit pupil is 4.14 millimeters or 4.6 millimeters, then you have a good exposure of the outer refractive zone or a great exposure of the outer refractive zone. Now, I have also discussed here about an important concept of the meiosis that happens usually after the cataract surgery. And uh, many studies actually point out that after cataract surgery, there's around 10 to 13% of meiosis, that is, the pupil constricts, than the preoperative pupil size. So the postoperative pupil size is smaller than the preoperative pupil size. Say, for example, if you have the entrance pupil in mesopic conditions, preoperative entrance pupil, remember this is a magnified version of the physical pupil. So 3 millimeter, then the entrance pupil size post surgery, if you take a 10% reduction in the pupil size, then it would be around 2.7 millimeters. Now, based on that, the real pupil, remember there is a relationship between the real pupil size and the entrance pupil size. So real pupil size post surgery would be around 2.38. How I come to this, the mathematics part is there in this article also. The exit pupil post surgery, right? Now, the exit pupil post surgery will be around 2.4 millimeters. Again, there's an explanation of how we arrive to the exit pupil post surgery based on the entrance pupil. And so now, if you have a size of the diffractive zone which is 3.2 millimeters, then the outer refractive zone will not be exposed, right? Now, with a 3.5 millimeter of entrance pupil, preoperative entrance pupil in the mesopic conditions, then also your outer refractive zone will not be exposed. Okay. Your outer refractive zone will be only exposed, the patient's outer refractive zone will be only exposed when the entrance pupil in mesopic preoperative entrance pupil is at least 4 millimeters. And if your entrance pupil preoperative mesopic entrance pupil is 4 millimeters, then your exit pupil post surgery is around 3.3 millimeters. And then you get a marginal exposure of the uh, outer refractive zone. So ideally, the patient's pupil should be 4.25 millimeters. The entrance pupil should be 4.25 millimeters, which you measure with the IOLMaster or the Lenstar. It should be more than 4.25 millimeters to help the patient get the benefit of the outer refractive zone during the driving or crossing the streets in the night time, right? So then only he actually gets the benefit of the outer refractive zone. Why? Because a 4.25 millimeter of entrance pupil preoperatively would mean an exit pupil post surgery of around 3.51. So then if you have a 3.2 millimeter diffractive zone, then you will have around zero point 0.3 millimeters of exposure. So that's basically the bare minimum, I believe, right, that the patients should have around 4.25 millimeters of entrance pupil in mesopic conditions. I hope you will enjoy the article over here and give some insights over here. And you'll find this in my blog, quickguide.org, and in the optics section, the relation between the mesopic pupil size and diffractive zone of multifocal IOLs. Till my next video, bye for now, and keep subscribing my channel, and do visit my blog, quickguide.org.